Okay. Hello, everybody. Um, First, I want to say happy birthday to everybody who had a birthday. On my friends, you guys, I have almost 5,000 friends on Facebook, and I really, it's just so, every day I have birthdays, and I don't get to everybody. I don't respond to everybody. It is nothing personal. It's just virtually impossible to reach out and, to every single person who has a birthday that pops up on my timeline. So please forgive me. It is nothing personal. I try to get to really close family and friends, but even that I fall short on, and I do apologize. It's nothing personal. I just recently had two deaths in my family, both two uncles, and I just want to say condolences to my aunts. I love you very much. Um, it's a lot. It's a lot. I guess the reason I'm going live and making this post is because I want to do kind of an introductory to a video I'm going to be uploading on my timeline and my YouTube channel. Some of you know, some of you don't, that I was incarcerated for 15 years for the death of my son. If you haven't seen the He Knows video that I have, which is my autobiographical story, or the things that led up to that and what happened. Um, been judged, went to prison for it, never been arrested before then, never was a bad mother, never any of those things. It's just things happened. Mental illness happened that went untreated. My family and I were blindsided by mental illness. And I see just a little bit that the conversation is creeping into the social narrative and so slowly into the Black community, but we don't talk about it enough. And I'm going to talk about it, and I'm not afraid of the response or the backlash, because I've been getting backlash, and any other kind of lash, both physical, emotional, from people, even in my own family, not family relatives, because family, it's people who love you regardless, and they're there and they understand, and they're going to be there for you regardless. And all those people are not connected to me at the genetic level. But for those I do share a chromosome or two with, who really didn't like me before, and when my son's death happened, they have even more reason to stand on a soapbox and say they hate me. And they've never held my son, they've never been in his presence, never changed a diaper, never sent a dollar, never even called me congratulating his birth to me or his father. So, you know, that's to be said. Even though those things are the case, I'm still going to address them. I have been addressing them. For those of you who know, I worked for 2.5 years at NAMI, Minnesota. NAMI stands for the National Alliance on Mental Illness. I was sent out numerous times to give a talk about mental illness. I've reached out to community centers, churches. Um, I've spoken at the Social Service Council in Minnesota. I've spoken at numerous colleges, in which I'm going to be doing in the future. But right now, I am creating a video. Right now, as we speak, it's uploading and converting, the talk that I give about my story, about what happened with me and my twin sons, and just what happened leading up to that. A really, like, really visual, in-depth presentation on what happened. And again, I'll say I'm not ashamed. I'm not ashamed of my past. I'm not afraid of people talking about me. That's been happening. I'm bulletproof, because there's nothing that anyone can say or do to me that hasn't already been done, including kill me. And because I adopt the doctrine of reincarnation, I believe I've done that before too. So I don't, I'm not going to say I don't care, because I do care. Because I do want people to get the message. I do want people to listen. And I do want to help women, but especially Black women with children, to not go the path that I went by not speaking out and not being adamant about mental, that we have a problem. Unfortunately, in my case, that cost my son's life. And I don't want anybody to go through that. No mother, no family to go through what I and my family have been through. It is hell. It affects a life. Your life affects so many other lives. And it's very important. Like, you may be able to reach people I won't. You may be able to say something to somebody I didn't, that couldn't reach. But even to those family members that judge me, excuse me, relatives that judge me, or even if you're watching this video and something makes you angry, that's okay. I just want you to understand that mental illness is real, and ignoring it will not make it go away. Ignoring it, it's kind of like ignoring cancer and expecting it, if you don't have any symptoms or if you don't pay attention to it, it won't metastasize. And that's furthest thing from the truth. It only gets worse without proper treatment and attention, medical. So I just want to preface that with saying that. So very soon, and I'll leave the link um, to the video explaining a full presentation that I do when I go to colleges and talk about my story, and when I go and speak at various places to tell my story about what happened. And with my uncle's passing, I just feel like, it's time to talk about it. I've talked about it with strangers, but now I'm talking to you, my Facebook family and friends. You need to know, and you need to know. And even if after you see the video, you're like, yeah, fuck her, at least you know that this is an issue in our community, that mental illness is real. And a lot of us have mental illnesses as Black people, but we don't reach out for that. And I believe it's kind of two reasons for that. One, because it is so many problems that plague us as a community that we don't want to ask for or include another widespread issue that we have in our community, like mental illness. We already have the police brutality. We already have the so-called black on black crime. We already have police genocide. We already have mass incarceration. We already have and these and so many other issues that we don't want to sign on for something else. And I get it, but our people are dying because of it. We're losing a lot of people because of it. And this recent episode at the Capitol with the young man who killed a police officer is yet another propaganda tool to diminish and assassinate the character of Black people, which wasn't done when those people stormed the Capitol, or wasn't done when Timothy McVeigh blew up um, Oklahoma City, the federal building. We didn't vilify white men. We didn't vilify white people who also left some people injured and even fatally. So while these things are happening, I feel like I need to speak on this because I feel myself getting more in the public eye. And again, I am not ashamed of anything I've been through. I'm not ashamed to tell my story. I'm not ashamed to show my imperfections. I'm not ashamed because nobody hardly is doing that. Everybody's posting, bravado, or I look good, or my makeup's nice, and I want to talk about this. And I don't give a damn about any of that. I'm trying to, and I am speaking the unspoken and speaking to the voiceless, the people who may be afraid to speak and may want to talk about these things but feel for whatever reason they can't. I don't care. I'm going to speak. I'm going to say something. I'm going to continue to talk about this. If I have to climb the top of Mount Rushmore and yell, I'm going to do that. I'm going to do that. And I have a platform that allows me to speak about these issues that we don't want to speak about. So, the name of my presentation is called Naomi Gaines Why. My name is Naomi Gaines Young, so it's kind of a play on my name, in which I'll get into in the presentation that I post as soon as it's done uploading. But people ask me why. Why did that happen? What went wrong that day? And it's impossible for you to understand the full scale of what happened with me and my children if you're just looking at one day. You have to rewind 18 to 24 months prior to, and even maybe a lifetime, from my childhood, to really fully get the grasp of what happened. So I just want to say that I love everybody for supporting me. I love everybody for tuning in to this. I know we got so much going on with ourselves. We got so many things happening, and we just don't need more bad news. We just don't need more. But it's time to start facing some of the ugly realities that are going on with ourselves and with our community. And only when you shine light on it does the darkness disappear. It's kind of like a kid being afraid of the dark and the closet is open and it looks like some kind of monster is in there. But when you turn the light on, you just see it's clothes. And you get rid of the fear by exposing what you're afraid of. And a lot of us won't do that. And I'm not mad, because people can use that. People can manipulate you with the things that you're scared of revealing. I am not scared of revealing anything about my past, no matter how uncomfortable it may be for you to listen to. So, again, condolences to my auntie Portia. I love you. Condolences to my aunt Phyllis, who's lost her husband. Condolences to you. I just think it's time to tell the truth. I think it's time, at least for me. My music is filled with truths and realities that people don't want to hear. I don't make, radio friendly songs, I guess, for those of us who still listen to the radio, um, in the free world, because in prisons where this information, a lot of the information that's being digested into the public, the people that are incarcerated don't have access to these media outlets. They don't have access to YouTube. They don't have access to podcast radio. They don't have access to that. I've been to the prison where I spent all those years at and spoke. I've been there 3 times. They've asked me back to minister and speak to the women there. And I'll go back every time they ask, because I want people to have more fulfilled lives. And the only way they can do that is being healthy. And so I use what happened to me to help others so they don't have to go through that. And I continue to do that. So so I really want you to check out, the video. I really want you to start speaking out about these things, because they're not going to go away. And the only thing that fixes ignorance is education. So I'm praying, after you see the story, you see what happened, you see what led up to that, that you can begin to tell your own story and have the courage to. That is the desired effect. The desired effect is that we can begin to be more comfortable in talking about these things, and find and trust is a community of people that can get together and talk about this, even if it's just with your spouse, your partner, a trusted family member, a trusted friend. Please don't be afraid to reach out. Please don't be afraid, like I was, of looking crazy when you may really be crazy. But I mean that in an endearing way, because I think the perfect example of the way that I see the onset of my illness was how Gnarls Barkley described in his song Crazy. Um, I remember I first lost my mind, and it wasn't because I didn't know enough, I just knew too much. Sometimes information comes to us that we're not ready to hear or see. And that's why I'm very careful about what I expose to people who haven't been exposed to something prior to that. A good example is in The Matrix, the first movie. when they woke up Neo and they saved him from the Matrix and unplugged him and brought him into the real world, and explain what the Matrix is, he kind of lost. He tossed his cookies. He kind of lost it, and then Morpheus had to apologize to him. I'm sorry. We never free a mind once it's reached a certain age, because it's dangerous. The mind has trouble letting go. Um, I've seen it before. Some people don't come back from that, and I believe in my heart of hearts that certain realities and certain information, both spiritual and political and social, was given to me before I was ready to receive it and digest it and process it. Like again, I'm just very careful about what I expose, because some people are not ready to be unplugged from the matrix. So, but anyway, I'm not gonna make this too long. It's storming out. It sounds so good. I love the thunder and the lightning. I just love storms, because they remind us that everyone's affected by what happens in nature. And this is a problem not just for Black people. It's not a problem just for Black women. It's not a problem for just America. It is a problem for the world. And my performance a couple nights ago, performing my son 316, I told the world is hurting right now. And my own suffering, yes, I need to take care of myself because there will be nothing to contribute to life in the world. But the world is hurting right now. And me, I feel we all have an obligation to heal that pain. But first, we have to heal the pain in our own hearts, because you can have compassion for all the world, but if your compassion doesn't include yourself, then it is incomplete. So, yeah, so this is just like a intro to that video that I'll be posting soon. Again, I'll leave um, a link once it's finished uploading. I just wanted to get this out before the night was over with. I just thank you for spending your time. I'm not going to take up any more of your time. I just encourage you to watch that video, to share that video, to even to people who are going through. When I speak at colleges, I'm speaking to people who are going into the mental health field, criminal justice field, social work field, so they can get a firsthand experience with someone who has gone through crisis, someone who that crisis untreated and unhealed led to a tragic event, and then someone who spent time incarcerated for that, which they really should have went to get help, but that's another post. To someone who came full circle and came out of that, which is myself. And I just want to say that, again, these are conversations we need to have. And if you have judged me, judged anybody for some actions they did while they were in a state of crisis, I'm not going to judge you for judging me. I wish for you understanding. I wish for you to be educated. But what often ends up happening is that bitterness and that judgment and that indifference toward the suffering or the tragic situation of another, it really ends up happening to someone you love. I've seen it too many times. Someone you love or someone that you hold dear either ends up committing the same crime or something similar, or you end up losing a loved one. And again, I'm not wishing this on anybody. This is just what happens. This is what happens. We become the things that we judge other people for. We end up, or a loved one ends up going through something similar, and then you get the aha moment. I'm trying to give you the aha moment without the universe leading you where it's going to lead you if you don't get rid of that bitterness and indifference and judgment as someone else's tragedy or situation. Say, I could never do that, or I could never go through that. Let me tell you something. Life has a weird way of turning around, turning the tables on you, that you get in a situation and then you feel like, how did this happen? I'm telling you how it happened. Rewind a tape of your own subconscious to figure out how you misjudge someone or judge someone for going through or doing the same thing, only to becoming the thing that you judge, or a loved one becoming the thing that you judge. So, people, we need to begin to speak about these matters, speak about mental illness, and speak out when we, or reach out to someone who may be hurting, who may be going through a crisis. And if you don't know what to do, there is hotlines, there are numbers, there are websites, there are so much devoted to people, to get mental health. And even with all that help and assistance, I would say the mental health system is still broken. It is still broken. I've heard someone say the mental health system wasn't broken, it hasn't been built yet. So that may also be true, but please, people, just remember to speak out and try to be gentle with yourself, if and not judge yourself too harshly. If you're going through some kind of crisis, do what you need to do to take care of yourself and reach out for that help, because it is help out here. So anyway, I love you guys. I am going to end this live, and I will post the link on my timeline to the video Naomi Games Why, which is a presentation of my story and what happened. Please share it. Please share it with professors if you're in school, or people who are teaching, or people who are just not really well versed in mental health, which is a great deal of our community, Black community is. So I thank you. Condolences again to my Aunt Phyllis. Condolences to my Aunt Portia. I love you guys. I'm so sorry for our loss. It is our loss as a family, and I love you. And I wish for you healing and everything good, because you guys deserve it. Have a good night, love.